The roar of the Seattle Pride crowd drowned out everything but the savage rip of fabric. Rowan's heart slammed against his ribs as the rainbow flag, his flag, the one he'd sewn patches onto with his late sister's trembling hand, tore like flesh under the stranger's boot. Blood sprayed from Rowan's split lip before he even hit the pavement. The man's fist a blur of knuckles and unspoken fury. And in that instant, the world cracked open, spilling confetti and chaos into the wound of who they both might become. Alex's boot connected with the crumpled banner one last time, grinding the colors into the asphalt like he could erase them from existence. He didn't see the faces blurring around him, the phones whipping out to capture his unraveling. All he saw was red, his own, boiling in his veins from years of buried screams, and the kid on the ground. That pretty boy with the hazel eyes wide as shattered glass, staring up like Alex had just murdered his soul. Freak. Alex spat, the word tasting like ash. But as sirens wailed closer, something twisted in his gut, a hook he couldn't shake, pulling him toward the very thing he'd just tried to destroy. Rowan tasted copper and rain on his tongue, the parade's bass thumping through the concrete like a distant heartbeat. He'd come to Pride for the 30th time that year, not for the glitter or the grind of bodies in the after-parties, but for the quiet ache of remembering Jamie, his sister who'd danced here once before the cancer stole her light. Now, sprawled amid discarded flyers and a spilled beer cup, Rowan pressed a hand to his throbbing jaw, watching the attacker, tall, built like a storm cloud, blonde stubble catching the sun, get yanked back by security. Their eyes locked for a split second. Rowan's pleading for mercy he didn't know he wanted to give. The man's wild with a desperation that mirrored his own hidden fractures. The cop's grip on Alex's arm was iron, but it might as well have been velvet compared to the vice clamping his chest. "You're done, pal," the officer growled, cuffing him rough against the squad car's hood. Alex's mind raced backward, the bar fight last week, the whispers at his construction site job about that queer parade blocking traffic, the nightmare last night where his father's voice echoed, "Man up or burn." He wasn't like them couldn't be. Wouldn't be, but the kid's blood on his knuckles felt like a brand, searing questions he didn't dare voice. As they shoved him into the back seat, Alex twisted for one last glimpse of the boy, now being helped up by a cluster of drag queens in sequins that shimmered like armor, and wondered why his fists still itched not to hit, but to hold. In the ER at Harborview, under fluorescents that buzzed like angry hornets, Rowan sat on crinkled paper, ice pack numb against his swelling cheek. The doctor, a no-nonsense woman with a rainbow pin on her scrubs, stitched the gash above his eyebrow while murmuring about concussions and counseling. "You press charges?" she asked, her voice soft as a secret. Rowan hesitated, the memory of those hazel clashing eyes flashing like lightning rage. "Yes," but laced with something raw, almost pleading. "I don't know," he whispered, thinking of Jamie's last words. "Forgive them, Ro. They're just scared of their own rainbows." Outside, the city hummed with Pride's afterglow. But inside, Rowan's world tilted, the hook of that stranger's fury lodging deeper. Alex paced the holding cell at King County Jail, the concrete floor wearing a path under his boots. Booking had been a blur, fingerprints smudged with the kid's blood, mugshot glare hiding the tremor in his hands. His lawyer, a public defender who looked like he'd rather be golfing, muttered about assault charges, community service if he played nice. But Alex's mind snagged on the boy's lender, defiant, with a lip that curved like it knew how to smile through storms. Why him? Why today? The cell door clanged open hours later. A guard barking. "Out on bail. Your brother's here." Relief flooded Alex as his older sibling, Mike, clapped his shoulder too hard. Eyes narrowed. What the hell? Man. Attacking some fag at Pride. Dad would roll over. Alex swallowed the retort. The truth, he'd never spit. Dad's ghost was the reason he swung. Back in his cramped Capitol Hill apartment, Rowan peeled off his stained shirt, wincing at the mirror's brutal honesty. Bruises bloomed purple across his ribs, a map of the morning's violence. But it was the ache in his chest that hurt worse, the one that whispered he saw himself in the attacker's frenzy. At 25, Rowan had built a life from fragments, graphic design gigs that paid the rent on his tiny studio, volunteer shifts at the LGBTQ center where he sketched murals of hope, nights scrolling Grindr for connections that fizzled before dawn. Pride was his anchor, a riot of color against the gray of loss. Now, as he dabbed antiseptic on his cuts, he Googled the news. Hate crime at Seattle Pride, man tears flag. Assaults attendee. No name yet. But the photo caught Alex mid-snarl, and Rowan's breath hitched. Those eyes tormented. Familiar. He slammed the laptop shut. Heart pounding. What if forgiveness wasn't a gift, but a theft of his own peace? The arraignment dawned gray. Rain sluicing the courthouse steps like tears the city couldn't hold back. Alex stood in an ill-fitting suit Mike had loaned him, palms slick as the judge recited charges: misdemeanor assault, property damage. How do you plead? The gavel's echo demanded. Not guilty, Alex rasped, voice cracking on the line out of the act. But of the why? In the gallery, he spotted him, the kid. Rowan, his name splashed in the bail, hearing Doc sitting ramrod straight, a fresh bandage peeking from his sleeve. Their gazes collided again. Rowan's soft with curiosity, Alex's burning with shame he couldn't name. The judge set a date, released him on his own recognizance. And as Alex shuffled out, Rowan's voice cut through the murmur, wait. One word. A lifeline or a noose. And Alex turned, the world narrowing to that bruised face offering something he didn't deserve. Rowan's apartment smelled of chamomile tea and fresh printer ink, the late afternoon sun slanting through blinds like hesitant fingers. He'd invited the man Alex. The paperwork revealed here on impulse, after spotting him chain-smoking outside the courthouse, looking like a cornered wolf. Coffee? Rowan asked now, handing over a mug, their fingers brushing electric. Alex took it, knuckles scarred from fights Rowan could only guess at, and sank onto the thrift store couch. Why? Alex finally grunted, voice gravel. Why not call the cops back? Ruin me. Rowan leaned against the kitchenette counter, arms crossed over his healing ribs. Because I saw you. Not the monster, the man underneath, begging to be seen. Alex laughed, bitter as black coffee, but his ice storm blue softened, cracking the dam. They talked, halting at first, words tumbling like loose gravel. Alex spilled fragments, grew up in Tacoma suburbs. Dad a cop who preached, real men don't cry. Mom gone too early to cancer. The construction crew's jokes turned ugly after one too many beers. And pride. It was the symbol of everything he feared in himself, the dreams that woke him sweating, of hands on his skin that weren't hers, weren't right. I ain't. I can't be, he muttered, staring at his boots. Rowan listened, heart twisting, remembering his own coming out at 17. The slammed doors and silent treatments that scarred deeper than fists. You already are, Rowan said gently, sliding closer. And that's not destruction. That's birth. The touch started accidental, a hand on Alex's knee to steady his story. Lingering too long. Alex froze, breath shallow, then leaned in, lips crashing against Rowan's like a wave breaking on jagged rock. It was messy, desperate, tasting of fear and salt. Rowan's fingers threading through Alex's hair as if to anchor him. They broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed, the room humming with unspoken vows. I'm sorry, Alex whispered. Not for the kiss, but for the flag, the blood, the years wasted hating his own heart. Rowan smiled, thumb tracing Alex's jaw. Then stay. Let me show you the colors you try to bury. Weeks blurred into a fragile rhythm. Alex showed up at Rowan's door with takeout from the faux joint down the block. Apologies wrapped in quiet gestures. A new rainbow patch sewn crooked onto a jacket. Tickets to a queer film fest where they held hands in the dark. At the sight, hammers swung lighter. The crew's taunts met with shrugs instead of swings. But shadows lingered nights when Alex bolted upright, murmuring no to ghosts. Or mornings Rowan woke to empty sheets. A note scrawled, "Can't do this to you." Each time, Rowan chased him down. Words a tether, "You're not poison. Alex, you're the storm that clears the sky." Rowan's world expanded with Alex's edges softening. They wandered Pike Place under market awnings, stealing kisses amid fishmongers' shouts. Alex's laugh rumbling free for the first time. At the LGBTQ Center, Rowan introduced him to the mural project walls blooming with fists unclenching into flowers and Alex's rough hands steadied the ladder. His input turning sketches into stories of redemption. "Like us," he'd say, smudging paint on Rowan's nose. Eyes alight with a boyishness that melted the last of Rowan's wariness. Intimacy deepened. Bodies learning each other in the hush of midnight. Alex's touches reverent, as if afraid Rowan might dissolve like mist. "I love you," he confessed one dawn, tangled in sheets. Voice breaking, Rowan pulled him closer, whispering back the truth that healed them both. But the past clawed back on a crisp October eve, pride's echoes fading into fall leaves. Alex's phone buzzed during their walk along the waterfront. "Mike." Voice tight. "Get to the hospital. It's bad." Rushed to Swedish. They found Mike pacing ER. Face ashen. "Leukemia," he choked out. "Aggressive. Needs a donor match blood. Marrow. Whatever sticks." Alex's blood ran cold. Tests pending. But the irony twisted like a knife. The man who'd spilled Rowan's blood now faced his own spilling out. Scans confirmed it Alex's type rare. Matches scarcer. Days bled into consultations. Needles pricking hope thin. Rowan sat vigil in the sterile room. Alex's hand limp in his. Monitors beeping a dirge. "If I don't." Alex trailed, eyes glassy from morphine. "Promise me you won't hate me for the flag. For everything." Tears carved paths down Rowan's cheeks. "I never did. And I won't start now." The call came at midnight. A match. Not family, not Mike, but a volunteer from the registry. Someone who'd inked their commitment years ago. Relief crashed. But as Alex rallied, tubes snaking life back in, he turned to Rowan. Voice a rasp. "It should be you. The one whose blood I took, I'd beg it back if I could." Recovery carved Alex hollow then full. Chemo's grip loosened, hair falling like autumn confetti. But Rowan's presence was the anchor soups spooned slow. Stories read from Jamie's old journals. Pride flags draped like talismans over the bed. In quiet hours, Alex confessed the depths, the closet's crush since 16. A fumbling encounter buried under booze and denial. The flags rip as much self-assault as hate. "You saved me," he murmured one night. Bald head pillowed on Rowan's lap. Not the doctors, the you who saw past the storm. Rowan stroked his scalp. Voice thick. "We saved each other. That's the real pride." Spring bloomed defiant. Cherry blossoms dusting Seattle's streets like forgotten confetti. Alex, gaunt but grinning, stood beside Rowan at the center's annual gala. A donor ribbon pinned to his vest. The crowd survivors. Allies. Lovers erupted as they took the stage. Alex's speech halting but fierce. "I came to destroy." Left with a heart remade. To the Rowans out there, don't let our storms steal your sun. Applause thundered. But Rowan's eyes held only Alex, the man who'd torn a flag and mended a life. They married that June. under a canopy of rainbows at a hilltop ceremony. Vows exchanged with rings etched in color stripes. Mike walked Alex down the aisle, tears unashamed. And as they kissed soft, sure, the world's roar fading to their shared breath, Rowan knew hate wasn't the end, but the forge. From ashes of fury rose love's unyielding flame, a testament that even the darkest clouds birthed rainbows. If only we begged for the light. The fairy horn blared across Puget Sound, salt wind whipping their hair as Rowan and Alex leaned against the rail, wedding bands glinting like new promises. It was their honeymoon simple, a weekend on Bainbridge Island, away from the city's pulse, but the weight of the year clung like sea mist. Alex traced Rowan's knuckles, scarred faint from that long-ago fall. Think they'll write songs about us? He teased, voice still husky from treatments. Rowan laughed, leaning in. Ours is the ballad no one's ready for villain to vow, one bloody flag at a time. But beneath the levity, echoes stirred, the arraignments chill, the hospital's hum, questions of what came next when redemption's fire met everyday embers. Back in Seattle, life wove tighter threads. Alex returned to the site part-time, helmet perched on a head now fuzzing with regrowth. Crewmates clapping his back with wary respect. Heard you went rainbow? One ribbed. But the punch landed light. Met with Alex's easy shrug. Yeah. And it's brighter than this fluorescent crap. Evenings found them in Rowan's studio. Alex's broad frame hunched over sketch pads, learning lines and shading under Rowan's patient guidance. You're a natural, Rowan murmured, watching charcoal bloom into a portrait of Jamie Fierce's eyes. Mid-laugh. Alex paused, smudging a tear, like drawing my way out of the dark. Yet fractures spidered subtle. At a bar crawl with friends' queer-chosen family. Tattoos and tails. Alex tensed when a hand lingered too long on his arm. Compliments turning flirt. Back off, he growled. Not at the touch, but the trigger it pulled, memories of fists as shields. Rowan pulled him outside, into alley shadows cool with dusk. It's okay to want, Rowan said, cupping his face. Or not. Just breathe with me. Alex did, chest rising to Rowan's rhythm, the panic ebbing into a kiss that tasted of forgiveness renewed. But later, alone, Alex stared at the ceiling, whispering to ghosts, am I enough? For him. For this. Rowan's own shadows lengthened too. The center's mural expanded a wall of survivor stories. Alex's among them, from Ripper to Remade. But funding dried. Grants denied and budget cuts that bit deepest where colors converged. Nights. Rowan paced. Laptop glow harsh on his face. Emails unanswered. What if it's not enough? He confessed to Alex one storm-lashed evening. Rain lashing windows like accusations. Alex drew him down. Strong arms a bulwark. You are. We are. Remember the blood mine to you. Yours back. That's the grant no one can deny. They made love fierce that night. Bodies a rebellion against doubt. Reclaiming space in size and skin. Summer swelled. Pride's anniversary looming like a mirror. Invitations poured, panels on resilience. Workshops on allyship. Alex as the unlikely face. He balked at first, stomach nodding. They'll see the monster, not the man. Rowan knelt before him. Eyes steady. They'll see truth. And I'll be right there, holding the flag you once tore. Rehearsals in their living room turned ritual, Alex's voice steadying. Words flowing like healed rivers. I destroyed to deny. Now I build to belong. Rowan's pride swelled, chest tight with the beauty of his husband's unraveling armor. The parade day dawned electric. Streets alive with bass and banners. They marched together, Alex's hand firm in Rowan's. The crowd's cheers a tide lifting them. At the stage, under spotlights hot as judgment, Alex spoke, voice cracking once. Then soaring, tales of Tacoma nights. Hospital vigils. A love that bridged blood and bone. Silence held. Then erupted. Strangers embracing him. Tears mingling with glitter. Rowan watched from wings. Heart full to bursting. Knowing this was the hook's full circle, from pavement fury to platform grace. But grace tested came the call from Tacoma Dad's old precinct. A buddy reaching out. Your pop's sick. End stage. Asking for you. Alex's world tilted. Ferry rides across the Sound, now bridges to buried graves. He went alone first. Hospital room reeking of regret. The man in the bed, a husk of the giant who'd swung belts and sermons. Heard you went. That way. The old man wheezed. Eyes averted. Alex sat. Fists unclenched. Yeah. Dad. And it saved me. Words poured the attack. The cancer. Rowan the elder's face crumpling. A hand extended. Trembling. Forgive. Alex took it. The grip weak, but real. A flag of truce in calloused palm. Rowan met him halfway on the return ferry. Arms open to the prodigal. How was it? Alex buried his face in Rowan's neck. Salt and sea mingling. Like ripping my own flag. But mending it. They stood thus. Horizon blurring. As Alex whispered plans, a letter to Dad. Read aloud if time allowed. Truths too long silenced. Back home. They pinned it together. Rowan's pen steadying Alex's shake. Ink flowing with the weight of what-ifs turned what-nows. Fall deepened. Leaves carpeting paths like confetti faded. Alex's checkups cleared remission holding. A miracle in margins, and he dove into advocacy. Guest spots at schools. Voice booming against hate's hollow echo. Rowan landed a grant. Murals multiplying across the city. Colors claiming concrete once gray. Their home filled, photos framed of pride stages. Jamie's journal open on shelves. A garden box on the balcony where Alex planted rainbow chard. Hands in soil, a quiet victory. Yet intimacy evolved. Not always easy. Anniversaries brought echoes, the courthouse date. A toast to trials turned triumphs. But nights when Alex's touch turned tentative. Scars whispering inadequacy. What if the cancer comes back? He'd murmur into Rowan's hair. Rowan turned. Eyes fierce. Then we fight again. Together. Your blood in me. Mine in you, eternal transfusion. Laughter followed. Then loving slow. Rediscovering curves and hollows. Bodies maps redrawn in trust. Winter's hush brought Mike's visit. Family folding tentative. Over cider by the fire. Stories swapped. Mike's divorce. His own buried questions aired. You were the brave one. Bro. He admitted. Clinking glasses. Alex grinned. Rowan's foot hooked round his ankle under the table. Nah. Just the stubborn one. Spring circled back. Pride's promise renewed. They volunteered at the center. Alex leading a workshop for youth from shadow to shine, his presence a beacon. One boy, eyes wide with fear, approached after, can hate turn to? This. Alex knelt. Voice soft. It did for me. Yours can too. Rowan watched. Tears pricking. The cycle unbroken. Love's chain lengthening. Their second anniversary fell on a rare sun-drenched day. Picnic in Discovery Park. Waves crashing below like applause. Alex unpacked a bundle, a quilt. Patches sewn from that first torn flag. Mended with threads of gold. For our bed, he said, cheeks flushing. Every night. A reminder. Rowan traced the seams. Heart swelling. It's perfect. Like us. As dusk painted the sky in purples and golds. They lay entwined. Futures unfurling. Alex's whisper cut the quiet. I begged your blood once. In hate. Now I'd give mine for every beat of this. Rowan kissed him. Deep and sure. You already have. And that's the story worth telling. Summer's heat wave baked Seattle into a simmer. Air thick with barbecue smoke and fairy whistles. Rowan and Alex's routine deepened roots. Mornings tangled in sheets. Coffee brewed strong. Commutes synced on the bus where Alex's head nodded to Rowan's shoulder. At the sight, Alex mentored a new kid lanky. Quiet. Echoes of his younger self sharing blueprints, not just of beams, but of building out from broken. Measure twice. Hate once. He'd quip, earning eye rolls and respect. Evenings. Rowan's designs lit their table. Alex's critiques turning to caresses. Creativity a spark between them. But ripples stirred from Tacoma. Dad's decline quickened. Hospice whispers turning to realities. Alex drove south weekly. Rowan tagging along when shifts allowed. The sound a silver ribbon binding wounds. In the dim room. Monitors sighing. The old man gripped Alex's hand. Stories spilling halting. Regrets over belts swung too hard. Love's unspoken a brother lost to AIDS in the 80s. Shame's silence sealing lips. Wish I'd torn my own flags. He rasped one visit. Eyes on Alex's ring. Proud now. Alex swallowed. Voice steady. Yeah. Dad. Of you. To for listening. The elder's nod was absolution. Frail but fierce. Rowan's heart ached witnessing it. Jamie's ghost hovering in hospital hush. You're giving him what I couldn't. He told Alex on the drive back. Hand on thigh. Alex's jaw tightened. Just paying forward the grace you gave me. That night, they made a vow over takeout. No more ghosts unchast. Alex penned letters to old crewmates. Bridges burned, now rebuilt in ink. Rowan called estranged cousins. Voices cracking over lines long cold. Pride's shadow loomed larger. The center's float a centerpiece mural on wheels. Stories scrolling LED. Alex co-chaired planning. Nerves fraying like old rope. What if they dig up the mugshot? He'd fret. Pacing their balcony. Rowan pulled him down to the glider. Stars pricking sky. Let them. It's chapter 1. We're the whole book. Rehearsals built confidence. Alex's commands crisp. Vision vivid. Not just colors lives reclaimed. The eve brought storm. Thunder rumbling like unresolved chords. Power flickered. City blacked out. And in candlelight, they danced slow in the living room, Alex's hands spanning Rowan's waist. Breaths sinking to Rain's rhythm. Scared. Rowan murmured. Alex's lips brushed ear. Terrified. But with you. Unstoppable. Dawn broke clear. Parade arteries pulsing with possibility. Marching day. The float gleamed. Alex at helm and vest stitched with patches his. Rowan's. Dad's precinct badge repurposed. Cheers swelled as they rolled. Confetti cannons bursting like Joy's artillery. At the rally, Alex's speech wove personal to universal. I came with fists. Left with family. Hate's not heritage, it's hurdle. Jump it. The crowd surged. Embraces enveloping. A trans teen hugging Alex tight. You make me believe. Rowan's eyes met his from the stage edge. Love a live wire. Post-parade. The after-party thrummed at the center, drag shows dazzling. Toast flowing. Mike arrived with a date. Awkward but earnest. Clinking beers, to rainbows. Real ones. Laughter loosened. Stories shared in circles. Alex's arm, round Rowan a constant. But midway, a face from the past, the cop from booking. Now ally. Clapping Alex's shoulder. Heard you turned it around. Inspiring. Alex's grin was genuine. Past grip slipping. Night deepened. Streets alive with afterglow. They slipped away to the waterfront. Pier lights dancing on waves. 1 year since the vow. Alex noted. Pulling Rowan close. Feels like lifetimes. Kisses heated. Hands roaming. Urgency born of crowd's energy. Back home. They tumbled into bed, bodies fervent, reclaiming each other in gasps and Gripslov's language fluent now. No translations needed. Fall's palate turned. Leaves gold underfoot. Dad's passing came gentle. Surrounded by Mike, Alex, even a cousin Rowan rallied. The service in Tacoma was small. Eulogies honest. Cop's code cracked by love's late lesson. Alex spoke last. Voice unwavering. You taught me strength. I teach youths in the soft spots. Graveside. Under evergreens sighing. He scattered rainbow petals. Jamie's echo in the wind. Grief's wake brought growth. Alex channeled it into a foundation, flag forward. Aiding queer youth with art kits. Counseling. Rowan designed the logo, torn fabric mending to wings. Grants flowed. Chapters sprouting in Portland. Tacoma. Their home buzzed with meetings. Youth voices filling spaces once silent. Winter solstice. They hosted solstice friends, round fire pit. Stories swapped like gifts. A young artist sketched Alex mid-laugh, capturing the light. This is you now, she said. He believed it. Rowan's gaze affirming. Spring's thaw mirrored thaw within. Checkups confirmed clear scans. Celebrations quiet. Hike in Olympics. Peaks piercing clouds. At summit, Alex knelt not proposal, but promise renewed. Forever's not a word. It's this. Rings kissed. Vows whispered to wind. Pride approached. Legacy layered. The float evolved interactive. Stories voiced by survivors. Alex emceed. Rowan beside. Harmony unspoken. As confetti rained, they locked eyes amid roar. Knowing, from one flag's ruin, a tapestry woven. Their love, once begged in blood, now flowed free kaleidoscope of trials turned triumphs. Hate's echo silenced by heart's anthem. The Foundation's launch gala shimmered under Seattle's dome. Chandeliers casting prisms on faces fierce with purpose. Alex stood at podium. Suit tailored sharp. Rowan's hand brushing his back like steadying wind. Flag forward isn't about me. He began. Voice carrying to packed hall dinners and tuxes. Youth in tees splashed color. It's about the flags we tear in ourselves. And the hands that help us stitch them whole. Applause crashed. But Rowan's smile was the anchor. I sang, we did this. Post-speech. Mingles turned intimate. A donor's check handed with tears. A teen's hug fierce. Mike cornered them later. Champagne flute raised. Never thought I'd toast my brother's queer empire. Laughter bubbled. His daddy a soft-spoken teacher adding. It's revolution. Quiet kind. As night waned, they slipped to balcony. City lights sprawling like veins of light. Alex pulled Rowan flush. Proud. Rowan nuzzled neck. Of us. Always. Summer's blaze fueled momentum. Flag-forward chapters bloomed workshops in parks. Murals under bridges. Alex traveled light. Rowan sinking when designs allowed. Hotel nights a blur of room service and rediscovery. In Portland, under Hawthorne Bridge's arc, they painted with kids. Colors streaking cheeks. Like us at the start. Alex murmured. Daubing Rowan's nose blue. A girl nearby piped. Start of what? Rowan knelt. Of everything good. But travel tugged seams. A week in L.A. For a conference. Alex solo. Left Rowan to city's hum alone. Calls crackled late. Miss your voice. Alex say. Fatigue heavy. Rowan paced studio. Sketches half done. Heart echoing empty. Hurry home. Bed's cold without your storm. Reunion at Seattle Tacoma was frenzious in baggage claim. Ignoring stairs. Cab ride hands linked tight. Fall's harvest brought harvest of sorts. Dad's estate settled. A modest bequest to flag forward for the son who taught me colors. The note read. Alex wept reading it. Rowan holding space. He saw you. At the end, they donated half, the rest seeding a scholarship Jamie and Jack fund. Bridging losses. Pride's orbit tightened. Annual gala their magnum. Invites surged. Alex's keynote a tradition now. Rehearsals in kitchen. Toast points for emphasis. Rowan's feedback gold. Lean into the vulnerability. He'd coach. That's the hook. Alex practiced. Mirror reflecting man remade lines around eyes from laughs. Not lies. Parade eve. Ritual returned, storm this year mild. But tension hummed. They walked waterfront. Hands swinging. Remember the rip? Alex asked. Voice low. Rowan squeezed. Remember the mend? Home. Candles flickered. Bodies slow dancing to vinyl jazz Sinatra's Crooner Bomb. Lovemaking followed tender. Touches mapping scars like constellations. Whispers weaving futures. Dawn's march. Float of phoenix wings of fabric. LED lives pulsing. Crowd denser. Energy electric. Alex led. Rowan at flank. Cheers a sea. Rally stage. Speech soared. Anecdotes laced with humor. Calls to action sharp. Tear the flags inside, build tents for all. Ovation lingered. After party, a vortex of connection. Mid-swirl. A ghost surfaced, the attack's witness. A photographer now friend. Gifting prints that moment frozen. But captioned Genesis. Alex traced the frame. Throat tight. From hell to here. They hung it in hall. Talisman. Post-pride haze. They honeymooned local cabin on Whidbey. Ferry rocking to sleep. Days kayaking inlets. Nights firelit tales. What's next? Rowan mused. Head on chest. Alex's fingers carded hair. More us. More world. Return brought routine renewed. Alex's sight shifts full. Crew now collaborators on Build-a-thon for shelter. Rowan's firm expanded. Queer inclusive campaigns winning awards. Home. Garden thrived, tomatoes red as redemption. Herbs scenting air. Winter's grip softened by gatherings. Solstice with Mike's circle. Games raucous. Secrets shared. A cousin came out over pie. Alex's arm round her. Welcome to the rainbow. Kid. Spring's bloom. Scans pristine celebration hike. Summit picnic. Alex proposed toast to bloodlines chosen. Rings caught sun. Vows etched deeper. Challenges crept. Foundations growth strained. Board debates heated. Alex's temper flared once. Meeting storming out. Rowan found him on bench. Lake lapping calm. Breathe. Rowan said. Hand in hand. We're the steady. Resolution came collaborative. Vision clarified. Pride crested. Legacy layered thick. Float interactive VR stories. Youth narrating. Alex emceed flawless. Rowan beaming. Confetti fell. They kissed amid roar. Love's proof public. Anniversary third. Getaway to Olympics. Tent pitched under stars. Fire crackled. Esmore sticky. Stories spun. Begged your blood once. Alex whispered. Now beg your forever. Rowan smiled. Granted. Eternally. Their tapestry. Threads of trial and triumph. Draped life's loom color unyielding. Pattern profound. The Foundation's national conference in D.C. marked a pinnacle. Cherry blossoms framing panels on policy. Alex keynoting Capitol shadow. Flights east. Rowan's hand in his through turbulence. Arrival a whirl of handshakes. Hotel suites with views of monuments remade in mind's eye, symbols of fights won. Still waging. Nervous? Rowan asked. Tie straightening Alex's collar. Alex grinned wolfish. With you. Nah. Ready to roar. Sessions buzzed. Breakouts on ally training. Youth forums fierce. Alex's talk stitching shadows drew standing room. Voice booming tales of Tacoma to transfusion. Calls to corporate donors landing checks like thunder. Post-panel. Lobby throng, senators clapping back. A veteran queer sharing parallel path. You give words to my silence. She said. Alex's throat bobbed. Yours gave me courage. Evenings. They stole city Smithsonian strolls. Lincoln's gaze solemn. Kisses in alcoves. Dinner at Founding Farmers. Toasts to roots replanted. From Seattle streets to here. Rowan mused. Fork twirling pasta. Our flag flies high. Nightcap in room. City lights winking. Bodies urgent sweat slick affirmation. Moans mingling with distant horns. Return west. Jet lag laced with jet fuel. Foundation hummed. New hires onboarding. Alex delegating with grace groan. Rowan's portfolio swelled. Billboard designs dotting I. 5 rainbows subtle in corporate sleek. Home. They hosted dinner. Mike and partner. Center friends. Laughter layering walls. Summer's solstice scorched. But they escaped North San Juan's. Kayak rentals slicing Salish sea. Seals barked. Eagles wheeled. Isolation a bomb. Evenings tent-bound. Stars canopy. Alex's stories turned speculative. Kids someday. Or just us. Forever too. Rowan traced jaw. Whatever canvas we paint. Together. Fall's equinox brought equinox of emotion. Anniversary of Dad's passing. Tacoma vigil quiet candle at grave. Jamie's journal read aloud. Mike joined. Voices harmonizing loss to legacy. He'd dig this. Mike said. Arm round Alex. Drive back. Sound silver. Catharsis settled. Pride planning peaked. Theme, threads unbroken. Flowed a loom visitors weaving stories into fabric. Rehearsals rain-soaked. Spirits unbroken. Alex's leadership legend. You're the warp. He told Rowan. Towel drying hair. I the weft. Parade eve. Tradition twisted, power out citywide. But generator glow. Group huddle sharing flameside fears. A volunteers coming out tail mirrored Alex's. Hugs circling. Home late. Exhausted elated. Sleep came tangled. Dreams vivid. Marched on. Streets surged float rumbling forward. Weavings fluttering. Cheers crescendo. Alex waving. Rowan beside beaming. Rally electric. Speech a symphony, humor hooking. Heart hauling tears. Unbreak the threads love them loud. Crowd chanted. Unity thunder. Aftermath after party. Center a light performances pulsing. Dances drawing all. Alex pulled Rowan to floor. Sway slow amid frenzy. Best yet. He murmured. Ghost from past, original cop. Now donor. Toasting, from cuffs to cause. Laughter freed. Post swirl. Waterfront wander. Pure solitude. 3 years. Alex noted. Waves lapping. Feels eternal. Kisses deepened. Hands exploring. Homeward haste bed a haven. Loving languid. Afterglow whispers planning tomorrows. Winter wove clothes. Holidays hybrid. Tacoma tree trimming with Mike. Seattle queer feast. Gifts thoughtful Alex's sketchbook from Rowan. Rowan's custom vest from Alex. Patches personal. Resolutions pin joint. More travel. Deeper dives. Spring surge. Health halo health scan sparkling. Hike celebratory. Wildflowers nodding. Foundation funded fat. Chapters coast to coast. Rowan's exhibit open gallery walls alive with their story. Abstract flags in flux. Challenges nipped, media spotlight sharp. Interview probing attack scar. Alex faltered live. But Rowan's off-cam steady. Truth's our strength. Clip went viral. Not scandal. But spark donations doubling. Pride's promise. Pattern etched. Float wove wonders. Interactive weaves drawing lines long. Alex emceed master. Rowan harmonizing. Confetti cascaded. Kiss crowned. Love's Loop closing. 4th anniversary. Cascades cabin. Snow-dusted peaks. Fireplace roar. Cocoa mugs. Memories mined. From beg to belong. Alex toasted. Rowan clinked. Infinite ink. Tapestry theirs. Hues harmonious. Narrative noble hates hem unraveled. Hearts whole. National expansion crested with a New York chapter kickoff. Skyline sharp against autumn skies. Alex keynote at Stonewall. Voice echoing hallowed halls, from Seattle ripped to here. We reclaim. Crowd queer quorum. Cheers cathedral. Rowan flanked. Pride palpable. After panel pub crawl weaving histories. Travel toll tallied, flights frequent. Fatigue freight. Homecoming's holy Rowan waiting with baths drawn. Massages melting knots. Missed this. Alex groan. Sinking into suds. Nights reknit. Touches tender. Talks turning to tenure. Foundation full-time. Rowan mulled. If it feeds souls. Winter's wide-out, grounded plans. But cozied core snowshoe jaunts in Cascades. Mugs steaming. Foundation virtual. Zooms zinging ideas. Mike's engagement announced over FaceTime. Wedding whispers including them. Solstice circle expanded. Youth alums joining. Fireside futures forged. A non-binary artist, gifted mural collab. Colors cascading concepts. Spring's thaw-thawed tensions 2-board buy-in on bold budget. Alex advocating assured. Rowan's solo show toured. Abstracts acclaimed. Income insulating dreams. Pride orbited innovation. App launch. AR flags for stories scanned. Beta buzzed. Youth testing thrilled. Rehearsals rigorous. Rain relentless. Resolve rock solid. Eve's vigil. Blackout bonus stars stark. Group gazing. Gratitude's grounding. Home. Hearth heartened. Loving luminous. Parade pulsed. Float futuristic auras augmenting weaves. March magic. Cheers cosmic. Speech stellar. Threads through time timeless triumph. Ovation orbital. Afterglow assembly. Center cosmic cosplay chaos. Connections cosmic. Past echo. Photographer pal. Prince progressive. Toast timeless. Waterfront wind down. Waves whispering. For spins. Alex side content. Urgency unspoken. Home heat passion peak. Pillow talk plotting. Summer scorched. Escapes essential. Road trip rogue river. Rafting rapids. Risks romantic. Campfire confessions. Alex's novel notion memoir maybe. Rowan encouraged. Your voice. Vital. Fall foliage framed family. Mike's wedding in Tacoma. Alex best man. Speech stirring, loves the mend. Vows vicarious. Vows their own vivid. Anniversary 5th, San Juan sale. Winds willing. Deck dances. Dolphin dips. Dinners decadent. Begged once. Blessed now. Alex beamed. Rowan reciprocated. Challenges charted, media maelstrom. Op-ed opposing hate apologist. Alex answered authentic. Rowan scripting support. Storm subsided. Solidarity surged. Foundation flourished. Franchises forming Boston. Miami bids. Alex eyed executive evolve. Rowan ready. Winter warmed by wonders. Holiday tour. Lights labyrinth. Gifts grand Alex's manuscript start. Rowan's ring engraving. Blood bond. Spring symphony. Scan supreme. Exhibit encore. Enrapturing elites. Pride's prism. App aced flags fluttering virtual. Float fusion. MC excellence. Confetti constellation. Clinch captured. Sixth spin. Olympics outcrop. Aurora tease. Infinite. Intoned. Indeed. Narrative nuanced. Noble narrative legacy luminous. Empire's edge sharpened with International Invite Toronto Conference. Maple crisp. Alex headlined. Rowan harmonizing handouts. Hall hallowed. Speech seismic. Borders beg bridges. Accolades abundant. After hours IIICN tower views. Kisses kinetic.